Okay, let's start to kind of get underway. Kind of aware it's the afternoon in everyone's time. So, firstly, good afternoon, everyone. My name's Charlie Griffiths. I'm the Director of Technology and Innovation at AAG. And on the call today, we've got Louis Graham, who's one of our kind of co-pilot specialists from our partner at West Coast, who is going to be showcasing us some of the capabilities of Copilot and how we can start to use it in kind of the everyday world. Hopefully, where you'll start to see kind of the efficiencies and actually how it can speed up and ultimately give us time back in terms of what we do on a day-to-day basis. So hopefully you'll find it really insightful. We've, in terms of talking to Louis and the team, that we thought we'd make this webinar really showing you more and more of what it can do. There'll be time for kind of a Q&A at the end. So if you've got any questions or anything like that as we kind of go through, please just pop those in the chat. We will kind of go and revisit those questions. Anything that we potentially can't answer, we'll certainly kind of come back and circulate. And as Mark said earlier, we are recording this session today, so we'll share that out with everybody as well, and you'll kind of see some bits on social media and such like where we'll be using some of this content. So yeah, Louis, really appreciate you joining us today. Thanks very much. So Mark, if you could just kind of skip on to the next slide for us. So anyone that's kind of joined the previous webinars that we've run around Copilot, this is only going to keep this really brief today, but ultimately one of the things that we strongly recommend is before you kind of dive in to potentially buying loads of different Copilot licenses, because kind of once you see what it can do today, hopefully you'll see some benefits to your kind of organizations, but we've got to make sure that your data is safe. So what is Copilot? Effectively, I would kind of describe it as a virtual personal assistant. So where you've potentially either in Teams had somebody in a meeting that's taking minutes, notes, and action points of what people need to do, kind of Copilot will do that for you. If you need to go and research information, or perhaps look at previous documents, or looking at information within the business itself, Copilot will go away and find that for you and create you content. But ultimately, it's as Louis will show, is a really powerful tool that will give you time back. Now, the considerations are here is because this AI tool will go and interrogate data that you as a user have access to. So if your permissions are not set up properly within your existing folder structures, namely within kind of SharePoint and OneDrive, or you've got a sensitive document that's been incorrectly shared with the wrong people historically, you could be inadvertently giving access to sensitive data and information to employees across your business. So before kind of diving in and kind of rolling this out, it's really important that you kind of go through what we call our kind of Copilot readiness assessment. And that's where we will work with you in terms of reviewing all those permissions, looking at where files of sensitive data is potentially being shared, and making sure that you've kind of got technical controls in place to avoid that happening in the future. So to give you an example that I know kind of Louis told me about historically, is you may have had a file in your OneDrive that you've shared with somebody, and accidentally, if you've kind of done file sharing from 365, you've accidentally set either anybody in the organization permission, or kind of worse, that anybody has access to that file. Now, if that permission has been set on a document that you've shared with somebody, other people in your organization will be able to view and access and search that data. So the story that Louis told me was this happened with a managing partner, I think it was a law firm, but ultimately somebody asked about some information of an upcoming meeting with the kind of senior person within the organization. And it started telling them about some insights about the meeting that was upcoming, started telling them a little bit of detail, who reported into who in terms of from an organizational hierarchy perspective. But because they'd also historically shared and had saved in their personal OneDrive a document about their divorce that had taken place months previous, it equally started sharing information around the settlement figure of the divorce and who got what, etc., etc. So really easily, sensitive or personal data was shared with people who you certainly wouldn't want to have access to. So really all we're saying is Copilot's a really powerful tool, but ultimately before you kind of dive into it, give us a shout and we'll take you through our Copilot readiness assessment and make sure that your environment is set up securely. Do a review of all your permissions that you've got in place, and just ultimately so that you're aware of what risks are potentially involved to your business. So I'm going to leave it at that today, but just more of a heads up around that. So with that, I'm going to kind of hand over to Louis, who's going to start to show us some of the powerful things that Copilot can do for us. So over to you, Louis.
Perfect. Thank you, Charlie. So yeah, obviously my name is Louis Graham. We're going to be going through Copilot for M365. If you've been on one of these demonstrations before, you'll see me go through the whole large language model and what it is. So we didn't want to repeat that again. What I'll do is I'll just try and show you some different demonstrations that you might not have seen before, where it can be utilized within your day-to-day work. So first off, the first place that we always start with is that Copilot for M365 chat. What I always say to both partners and customers and people that are looking at utilizing Copilot for Microsoft 365 is this is not just searching your internal information, but your external information as well. If we look here, it is your ChatGPT window. So what does an LLM stand for? That is not something that's within my organization, but it's going to find that information from its own understanding. But we can also turn on the internet as well. So everything that you see today, everything that we've been through in the demonstrations is out of the box experience. But through here, we can do plugins and connectors. We can connect to external data sources, whether it be an on-prem file server. Maybe you've got Jira, Salesforce, or Zendesk in the background as your ticketing systems or your sales systems. Doesn't mean just because it's not in Microsoft that we can't utilize the AI on top of that. We can't ask it questions about that data. It just means that there is an additional step in there. Now, what I would normally do here is, we take a form, we take a transcript, and we actually get the AI to generate that form for us. So we're able to point the two documents together and extract information. But because we've done that before, I thought we'd do something slightly different. So as you can see here, it's asked me, how do I write a request for proposal? How do I suggest 10 compelling titles based on a particular file? Maybe we want to send an email out to a company. This example won't be that, but maybe we've got an existing document. We've got a financial document. We need to send financial information out to the senior leadership team at the company. We want to utilize the AI to get the context from the document that we've already got. We've got the document here. We don't want to copy and paste it into ChatGPT. We don't want to copy and paste it into a different AI system. We want to be able to leverage that through Copilot for Microsoft 365. So again, use your imagination here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to say using a customer complaints handling template. So here we have a customer complaints handling template, respond to this complaint that we've received within the business. Now, this could be anything. This could be, like I said, this could be financial data. This could be a company update that you want to send to everyone within the company. Within the customer handling template, I've got in here, it says, it is what it says on the tin. It is a template, but I've got the context so the AI can understand. Now, when we talk about large language models and we talk about that AI, not only is it going to be surfacing all the information, but if you're using an OpenAI system such as ChatGPT or Google Gemini, I think it's now called, or the Meta one that's going to be coming out, it's constantly learning. That's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing because you can tell it, right, as a company, we want to respond in this way. We want to show an apology and appreciation. An action, we want to show these different things. Our company voice is very formal, but it's very fun, or whatever that may be. You can give it that understanding in the background or before you put the prompt in, and then every time you go into that, it will understand that. With Copilot for Microsoft 365, it's that closed AI system. What that means is every time that we're talking to it, it's starting like starting a new conversation. We're going into the room brand new every time that we have the conversation with it. Like I said, it's a good thing because as a company, I'm sure that my data is not going to be leaked outside of this chat window that I'm in. It's not going to be used to train the model, but every time we have a conversation with it, we've got to remind it that this is the way that we want it to respond. This is the action that we want it to give. So here I've got, again, customer complaints handling template where we're going to show an acknowledgement, we're going to show an apology, we're going to show appreciation for the issue that the customer has raised. We're then going to give it an example of how we want that email to be responded out. So I'm giving it the context, and I'm also giving it a little bit of a template of what I want the email to look like on the back end. I then looped in that email, and in this instance, it is a physical email. So I've just looped in that email. I'm simply going to hit send. What that is going to do, it's going to get the context of the complaint email that's come in. I believe from memory, it was regarding a faulty toaster that arrived and the box was mashed up because it was thrown around within the back of a van. And then we've got that customer complaints handling template. So in this, it's again understood the context within that email, within the email. It's understood the context of the customer complaints handling template. We've told it the way that we want it to respond, and it's generated us that response for us. So again, as you can see here, we're offering a discount, we're showing an apology, we're giving our contact details. It's not put all of the details in there, but simply what I can do is I can hit copy and I can hit paste in an email. There isn't currently the capability to loop in a document within your Outlook itself. You can't go into Outlook and create me an email based on this. You will create it in this one window, this one chat window, which is 365 chat, and then copy and paste it and put it into whatever format that you wanted to put it into. Again, this is a limited use of it. Like I said, I've used it to extract information. Me personally, I've been given a list of customers. I've needed to try and find out where those customers sit, what segment they're in, what industry they're in, how many users they've actually got in with that company. A list of 200 customers, if you imagine trying to do that one by one, it's going to take you hours. I was simply able to say to the Copilot from Microsoft 365 chat, I want to get out these bits of information from these accounts, format it in a table for me, and it's done all of that hard work for me. I might have had to split it. I'm not going to say I did 200 in one go. I had to split it out, but I've been able to leverage it and make sure that that data is secure and safe. So again, this is your ChatGPT window. They're all types of different things you can do within here. So summarize the Teams messages where I was mentioned this week. What's my next meeting with this person? I use it as a personal assistant. So when I come in the morning, like I did this morning, I do every morning, what meetings have I got today? What do I need to know about those meetings? What emails have I received in the past 24 hours that I haven't responded to yet? There's always going to be one or two that I might have missed. Again, surface those for me. Let me see those so I can then start responding and start my day. Again, as a personal assistant there to work alongside me. So we've looked at obviously generating that email from a custom complaints handling template where we've given it the context and the way that we want it to respond, the understanding of the way that we speak as a company. But now I'm going to go into Outlook and look at physical emails, and this might be one that you've seen before. I think it's a good one to highlight. Before we get into that, now I know that everyone hates the new Outlook. It is, it doesn't have the same functionality as the old Outlook. We are going to have to all move over to it at some point. But one of the good things with Copilot for Microsoft 365 is we actually now have the availability of looking at our emails within the window. So whether you're on the new Outlook, which is on your desktop, or you're in the new Outlook online, as I am here, you have this little Copilot icon on the top right. What we can do is we can, rather than doing a keyword search where you're just looking for a keyword, you're looking for a particular word that's within your inbox, we're able to ask it information about our full inbox, our emails that are in our inbox or in a folder, and ask it to find information from there and pull that information from us. So we can ask it to summarize any emails where we've been mentioned. Again, this is a demo tenant, so there's going to be no emails where I mentioned, but I can ask it to summarize all of those emails. I can understand what action items I have within my inbox. Tell me more about a particular topic. There's a topic that I want to try and understand, but find that file. Who's ever been there where, you sat at your desk and someone's come over to you, oh yeah, do you remember talking about the e-bike? And we was talking about the e-bike, but I can't remember where the file is. Where is that file located within my inbox? So find the file that mentions e-bike. what it's going to do, it's going to search my full inbox. It's going to search all of the attachments. It's going to search the inside of those attachments and bring me back any results that it has found that are relating to mentioning that e-bike. Again, rather than doing a keyword search, which we all know doesn't work 100% of the time, it's going to do an actual search of the documents and that's within those documents. And no matter where it is within my inbox, it's going to pull me through those different bits of information. So here we've got the production master is an Excel file that's been modified, and then a Word document that's been sent over. And again, it's looking at that Excel production master demo that's been sent over that particular document. We've also got the references to those documents as well, so I can go straight to them. So not just my inbox, not just doing a keyword search for my inbox or the understanding of my inbox, I'm able to search information outside of that. We can make it bigger, we can make it smaller, but that's something that, you know, I've had Copilot for 7 months now, and that was something that I only found out last week, or not even last week, on Monday morning. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start responding to an email. So here I've got the grand opening of an event. This is an email that I've used quite a lot, but like I said, it is a really good email to start responding to show you some of the capabilities of Copilot for Microsoft 365. So first off, the first thing that we can see here, it's not the longest email thread. It's, you know, it's a few emails long, but I've definitely got longer in my inbox at the moment that I haven't replied to. I'm simply able to hit summarize. I'm able to get the key points, understand where I've got to focus my time, what different ideas have come up within this email, and get that within a few short sentences. You know, 5 paragraphs that we've got here. Now, work trend index, we've not mentioned it yet, so I thought I'd get that in here now. The work trend index found the most recent one that we read 4 emails for every one that we send. It's a lot of content that we are reading as modern workers. We're reading a lot of content, and then we're trying to send out just as much. If we can try and streamline that, again, it might be 3 minutes you're saving reading a full email thread. If we're able to save those 3 minutes, those 3 minutes are a time that you can spend in a different task that is more productive and more creative. So now we've got a summary of that email. Right, I understand that it's between Nesta, Lee, Grady, Adele, myself, and it's gone through to Chris as well. What I'm able to do is I'm able to reply all. Now, as we've all seen, if I go to message, I've got the ability to hit Copilot at the top here. Same icon no matter where you go. And also something to note, the Copilot for Microsoft 365 chat that I've got here is now within our emails. Not just emails, it's within Teams as well. So no matter where you're working, I can actually just go to Copilot and I can get the same chat window. I can ask it the same questions that I was asking before. I can ask it to summarize documents. I can ask it to do all that, but I don't need to go back and forth within my applications. Again, this is the same in both the online applications and the desktop applications. But here, I'm going to go back to this email. We're going straight back to it. Got the ability to hit the Copilot icon and then draft it with Copilot. Again, we've got different ways that we want it to respond. So actually, I'm going to be a bit different in this one. I want you to be direct, and I want it to be a long, direct email. So thank the team individually for their ideas, and suggest we start with a social campaign. One thing that I've noticed as I've started to try and use this more, started to try and leverage it so I can send a lot of more emails out, is it's starting to understand the way that I write in my personal one. It's starting to get those little nuances, the way that I sign off my emails maybe. Now, this really isn't the best structured email that I've ever seen, so I'm just going to hit retry. It's always good when it doesn't do it right the first time, because we can ask it questions and we can get it to that end result, so you can see the ways that we can get there. So again, it's not quite done it. It's been very direct. It's not the longest that I've ever seen. So what I'm going to ask it is, please structure this email. So again, I want to add that structure in there. I don't want it to just be a blurb, a throwing out of words. I want it to be structured. I want it to say, hi, Louis, go through the actual email itself, and then give me off those, then sign off for me as well. So that looks a lot better than the 3 that we've got. And that's the thing. It's not a one-stop thing. It's not you put the prompt in and that's it. That's what you've got to take. It's a conversation. I can ask it to retry. I can ask it to go again. But if the second time isn't as good, it's still going off the same. There's something wrong with the prompt that I've actually put in. And that's why I asked it to add that structure. I'm telling it that I want that structure, and it's gone off and give me that structure. It's giving me what I wanted. So I'm now going to hit keep it with this one. So we've got a subject in there. It's taking the subject from the email itself. I'm going to get rid of that, and now we've got the email. So we've gone through, we've thanked everyone individually. We've suggested what that we're going to go with that social media campaign, and then we're thanking everyone for their hard work. This will be well and good for me to send off. I could send off and be pretty happy that everything's okay. But when we're doing emails ourselves, when we're generating them ourselves, we might want to just double check that we've got the correct context, we've got the correct understanding, we've got the correct tone, maybe. That's where coaching with Copilot comes in. In this instance, we're getting AI to check AI. So I'm 99.9% sure that it's going to say the email is perfect, that nothing's going to need to be changed, that we're going to be perfect in the way that we've said things. But that's not true when humans do it, when we do it ourselves. There'll be little things within there. Maybe it is direct. I know personally, my manager has recently got Copilot, and all of her emails say that she's too direct. She could add more around what she's saying. Actually, it's not. It's because we've been direct. It's saying the tone is warm yet professional, but we could be a little bit more warm to further engage the readers. There is good reader sentiment because we're valuing each individual's contributions. But directly appreciating Louis' specific contributions would make them feel more valued and directly involved. So actually on this one, I might do this for future demonstrations. We do direct and then long because it's actually coming up that there is something wrong with the email itself. And we've not provided specific details around the social media campaign. So we could clearly, we can clearly clarify our strategy. So again, in this one, it's picked up actually not everything is perfect. There are some things that maybe I want to double check as a user before I'm sending the email out. There isn't a button for me to say, right, implement all these changes, amend all of my emails. I have to go in there and I have to look at these. I have to say, right, I think that this is something that I need to implement, or I don't think that this is something that I need to implement. I need to take that human decision. Again, it's there to work alongside us. It's not there to replace me. It's not, yes, it's created me an email, but I've still got to double check it. I've got to still make sure that the information is correct, because again, AI generated content may be incorrect. Now, I'm actually okay with this. So what we would do is, if we wanted to amend the email, we would just hit we would just make the amendments, then hit regenerate. It would then generate us a brand new coaching with Copilot box, so we could then have a look at that and then see whether we actually wanted to implement those different changes. But again, what we've done there is we've responded to an email very quickly. It's got the content that I wanted there. Would we do it for every email? No, we wouldn't, because then you're just going to have AI sending emails to AIs that's then responding with an email from an AI. It's going to be used, get a lot of content out a lot quicker than you can type out, and get that response out a lot quicker than you'd be able to, whether you're on the move or whether you're in the office. So that is Outlook, and like I said, they're the new ways that I've seen. So that in the top right, doing that search, being able to summarize emails where you've been mentioned, find any action items that are in your emails rather than going to the 365 chat, then back into your emails, then back into the chat. We're able to do this in your Outlook, as long as you're in that new Outlook. Like I said, I know that everyone hates it. I hate it too, but I think it's something that we're all going to have to get used to, unfortunately. Now, moving on to Teams, so I'm actually going to show you my Teams, and again, something that has been released recently, and that's been added recently. So here I've got two chats that I'll be going through. Ignore the fact that I've got two outstanding chats. They will go up and up as we go through this presentation. But what I've got here, I've got a meeting that was transcribed. It was recorded and transcribed. I've actually got the ability to see who the speakers are. This is something called Intelligent Recap. And previously, this was only available with Teams Premium. So you need to get Teams Premium and a Copilot license so you get this same functionality. But what I've got here is I've got a summary of who the speakers are, who actually spoke within this meeting. How many times have I been mentioned personally? Obviously, Faye's been trying to get my attention quite a lot because she said my name 5 times. And then what tasks does it believe that I need to pick up off the back of this? Rather than having to go into that chat window, which we'll see in a little bit, where I'll see in a short while, where I'll show you, the recap functions within that transcript, I can get a high level overview. So if I'm not able to attend the meeting, I can see, all right, there was 4 speakers, I was mentioned 4 times. Of those 4 times, 3 of them are people putting me up for tasks that I wasn't aware of, and here are the 3 tasks. This is all something that we can do within the Teams meeting overview page now. Now, this was, like I said, this was a recent feature. This is a meeting that I had before that feature was released, so it's not going to do it retrospectively. If you've got a meeting that's already been in 2 months ago, you're not going to be able to go in retrospectively and actually see all of that recap. It's going to be anything from now or from the point that it was integrated. But here I've got a conversation between me and one of my colleagues about a 4-day working week. What I'm simply going to do is hit recap, and this is what I was saying earlier. What we've got the ability to do is hit recap and then hit Copilot at the top here. If I had that intelligent recap, if the meeting was recorded and transcribed, we would actually get a picture of the recording in the middle section here. So we get a picture of the recording here. We'd actually get who was the speakers. So who spoke. So Louis spoke for 99% of the time. Harry spoke for 1% of the time. It would give us the breakdown. And what we would actually be able to do is actually skip through to the part where that person has spoke. So again, intelligent recap is a really good feature that's just been added to Copilot for Microsoft 365. What I'm going to do now is I'm not going to enter the prompts because I've already got the prompts already put in, but I'm going to talk you through some of the things that we can do with Copilot. So in that intelligent recap, what we saw was a recap of who spoke, how many times I've been mentioned, and what tasks it thinks that I should be picking up or should be picked off the back of it. If I wasn't able to attend that meeting, I then go into it. I see I've been mentioned 15 times. I'll then come into Copilot for Microsoft 365 chat. The recap icon within Teams, and actually ask it what was discussed in the meeting. Obviously, I've got a high level overview of the name of the meeting. So this is a 4-day working week. But in this recap, you can see what was discussed in the meeting. It was about a proposal of a 4-day working week within our internal modern workplace team. I presented the benefits of a 4-day working week, but they was batted back by my colleague Harry with the cons of the 4-day working week. We've got different ways that we want it to be implemented and the way that it can be implemented. I've then got the connotation, so I can see within the transcript whether I've actually said that or where someone else has said that it's got the content from. So here we've got the three different connotations where we can go straight to the transcript and see actually where was this discussed. Again, AI generated content may be incorrect. So again, we can then double check it. We can triple check it, make sure it's got the correct understanding of the conversation that we had. Now, what I've now got is create me a list of pros and cons of the 4-day working week in a table. Now, this is a 4-day working week in a table, but let's say you wanted to do your the attendees, what their job role is, what tasks are upon them, and actually what the due date of those tasks are. What we can do is we can simply ask it all of those different things, ask it to put it in the table, and it will create you a table full of that information. Now, instead of doing that, what I asked it to do is I asked it to just list me the action items. It's created me a list of action items, but it's only, it's put Louis on there. It's not put a due date. I don't know if a due date was discussed. Again, we were able to ask it dynamically those questions about the transcript, about what's been spoken about within that Teams meeting, allowing me to be present. And that's the big thing. Yes, I'm talking about following a meeting if I wasn't able to attend, but during the meeting, right now, you could have the transcript on as Mark already has, and we can go back and we can ask it questions. We can ask what Louis discussed. What did Louis go over? It will understand the context of the conversation. We'll be able to ask those questions, so we don't need to sit there and try and take notes and not have our full attention on the other person on that Teams meeting. Now, currently this only does Teams meetings, but there is the ability coming for it to do PSTN calls. So if you've got Teams calling, if you've got calling through your Teams, you'll actually be able to, as long as that transcript is on, as long as you're transcribing, you'll be able to go back through normal phone calls. Someone calling you from a mobile, you'll be able to, as long as it is recorded and transcribed, you'll be able to go in there and ask it questions and extract information from there. So again, something that's coming on the horizon. Now, moving on to Word. Again, I've done quite a lot of these different demonstrations. Again, I'm going to do something slightly different than we've done before. I'm actually going to open up this RFP, a document that's already been created. So this document's already created. It's a request for proposal from a customer around providing a new fleet of electric e-bikes. Again, something that was generated by AI. Now, we're not going to generate anything new off it, but I'm going to extract information. How many times have you looked at a 20-page Word document and had to extract information from it? You've not known where that information is. You've had to try and find it within the document itself. What we can do, first off, is just summarize it. I know that it's a request for proposal because it's called an RFP, but I want to understand what actually is the content within the document. So here we've got a summary, the project overview, the background. Again, we've got connotations going to where that particular bit of information We've got the scope of work, specifications, proposal requirements, and evaluation criteria. Again, I can go to all of these quite quickly just by clicking the connotations. So I've got an understanding. Oh, wrecking my desk. I've got an understanding of what the document is. I've got that high level summary. But I now need to know what the due date is. What is my timeline? What am I working towards? So I'm simply going to ask it, what is the due date of this? What's the due date? Again, what it's going to do, it's going to understand the document itself. And it doesn't matter if within the document it's not called due date. It might be timeline. It might be submission date. It's going to understand that all of those things mean due date. It's going to put the two and two together, not do a keyword search. And that's the big thing. It's going to do a search that is going to understand the language that we are using. So here within the document, we can see that when it was issued was the 1st of May. The deadline for questions was the 15th of June. The submission deadline is the 30th of June. And the contract start date is the 1st of September. So high level, I've gone into this document. I've understood what those due dates are and a quick summary of it. Again, like I said, connotations going straight to that point where it is discussed. And now actually I'm ready to submit. Let's say later on down the line, I'm ready to submit. I'm ready to go ahead with my proposal. Who's the main contact for the document? Again, I don't need to go start searching for it. I simply just ask it, who is the main contact for this document? It's going to surface that information and then give that to me. I've got the different again connotations to where it's been said. So we've got the main contact is Lynn Robbins, which is the CTD manager. Give a phone number and then give us an email. Again, not everyone needs to generate anything brand new. We don't need to create a comparison of two documents as we've done before. We don't need to create a comparison of two policy documents, understand the differences between those policies. We just need to find information that's within an existing document. Now, I've done quite a lot of testing on this, and the upper limit that I've found is around about 20 pages. The words don't really matter, but when you get to about 20 pages, it does start struggling. It still does do the work, but it does start struggling a little bit. Now, I know I mentioned that you don't always have to create brand new content. I'm going to create a new document, but I'm going to do it in a slightly different way. So I've got a script. So internally, we're changing our devices. We're updating our devices. We're doing a device refresh. I've got a script that I'm going to stand in front of the company with, but I actually want to create frequently asked questions from that script that what I'm going to present. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to loop in a new device presentation script, which is once it loads up. So going on to Charlie's point, it is all about that data governance. To loop in my documents, all I've got to do is just put that /. It is then searching everything that I've got access to as a user. Now, again, if you've got the right access controls put in place, then it won't be able to surface anything that you don't already have access to. But it's those instances where things have been shared when they shouldn't have, or people have got access to something when they shouldn't have access to it. So using this script, and I'm going to show you what the script looks like, just so you can see that I'm not cheating. It's not in a different format. It is literally a script. It's what we would go through within an internal meeting within our sales team. I then got the document. I'm then going to ask it to create me a step-by-step guide based on that script that we can utilize. Within a couple of seconds, as you've seen, we've started generating that from that existing script. We've just given it what we're going to say. It's then extracting those different bits of information, extracting the main point, and then putting it into a document that we can send out to our colleagues, to our employees. Again, a particular example where we're generating new content from something that is existing, but this will be someone's job. If you're doing a device refresh, they will have to write down all of the steps that someone's got to go through to get their device back on the network, back joined up to the domain, whatever it may be. With this, we're able to streamline that full process. Again, we've gone from nothing to 3 pages and 710 words almost. And it's not a one-time thing. We can come in, we can ask it to be more engaging, we can ask it to amend it, we can change the full prompt if we really want. It's a conversation. It's not a one-stop thing. It is something that we can go in and amend dynamically if we really want to. I'm going to hit keep because this isn't something that we need to focus on now. But again, the big thing is we've looped in an existing document and how easy that was for me to loop that in. Now, I'll go on to PowerPoint and then I'll come back to Excel. I think that's the best way of doing it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a blank document that I've got. I'm going to, much like we've done before, I'm going to hit Copilot. And I'm going to actually loop in rather than a demo document or something like that. I'm actually going to loop in financial data. So let's say we're doing a business update to the full business. We need to present to the business the let me just find the document. We need to present these financials to the full team. So we've got Adventure Networks, financial overview document. And what I'm going to do is I can't open it from there, but I'll show you just so you know what the content looks like and what format it is in. So we have got Adventure Works financial overview. I've got an overview, I've got a summary, I've got that financial data, and then that's it. That's all I've got, as well as a bit of commentary. But again, this is a blank Word document. There's nothing else in here. What I'm able to do is simply point Copilot at that document, hit enter. It's going to understand the context and the content within that document, understand that we've got financial data, and then start generating me a presentation that we can go on and present to our internal team. Now, not just that, it's gonna obviously give us the overview and give us those speaker notes, so we can say, right, I'm going to be presenting the financial overview for FY23. In FY23, it'll give us a breakdown of what was discussed in there. Usually from this document, it creates me 16 pages roughly, but I have seen it go up to 34, sorry, is the maximum that I've seen. But it will also take a little bit of artistic and a little bit of creativity itself. So as you saw within that existing document, the financial data was just in a block. It wasn't in a table. It wasn't presented nice and fancy. It was just in a block. It was just data. What this will do is it will pull that information through. I hope, as long as I'm not speaking too early, what I've done usually is it pulled through the information, put it into a table for us, so it's easy to understand, it's easy to consume. So not only is it creating us that first presentation, but it's able to take those little creativity, that bit of creativity as well. So it's picked out some pictures. I don't know, as a company, Adventure Works, I don't know if they do renewable energy. I don't know where that's come from. It's took a picture of a bike as well. Again, I might want to edit it. The thing is, it's not perfect, and that's probably a good thing. I can still come and edit and make it my own. Again, that data has been pulled out. It's been put into a table, so it's easy to consume. We've got the change year on year. We've got that, again, easy to read. We've got all of this other financial data, so the income statement, the balance sheet, and the cash flow statement, and the key ratios. Again, put different pictures in there. We can ask it to put a particular picture in, but here it's just taking its own artistic and actually put those pictures in itself. Again, well, it's not perfect. I don't want this many pictures in my presentation. I would amend it slightly, but rather than just leaving it here, I'm actually going to ask it one more thing. So I'm actually not gonna do that one. So that let's stop generating that. I'm actually going to ask it to give me ways on presenting this document. So give me specific examples from this presentation on how I can improve it for a company all hands. So an all-out company, how can I improve this? How can I make it better to present to everyone that's within my company? It's not generating me new content, and this could be an existing document that we've already got created, we've already got in the back, and we're already going to be presenting it. But it's going to understand the content that we've got there and give us examples, give us ways of improving it, ways of improving our presentation. We've then got the references going in there as well. But again, it's picked out, highlight the company's commitment to sustainable transport, emphasize the robust growth, use the table to format the significant increases in revenue. So not just generating us that content, but making us a better presenter as well, making sure that we're getting the right message across that we want to get across. Now, again, this could be done in an existing PowerPoint or a brand new PowerPoint if you really wanted to. I'm going to go back to Excel, and Excel is obviously the one that is currently in preview. Now, there have been things that have been introduced, but it was supposed to be out of preview on the 1st of July, but that was then pushed back to September the 1st. So again, what I'll show here is some of the things that we can do, but it's not going to be that full. It's not that full product. Let's be realistic. It is still in a preview version. So things like Python languaging, things like, looking up between different workbooks, it can't do. So I can only look at this particular document that I've got open at any one time. It's not going to be able to loop in existing documents that are elsewhere. Again, those features are coming, but it's just not there yet, unfortunately. So here I've got some sales data. So we've got some January to June spend. We've got some quarter totals. We've got some account manager totals, and then I've got some contacts as well. But we probably won't get onto the contacts. So simply put, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Copilot. We've got the Q1 total. We've got the Q2 total. I've not actually got a margin change, so I can see here that this one's gone down by 130,000. This one's gone up by 3,000. Here we've gone up by 16,000. Here we've gone down by quick maths 55,000, but there isn't a margin change. As a company, we are targeting on a particular margin. We need to make sure that we're staying within that margin change within our customers. So here I'm simply going to ask it to insert a column after the Q2 total showing the percentage margin change from Q1 to Q2. Now I've done this quite a lot, so I know what it's going to do. It's going to take the Q2 total, minus the Q1 total, divided by the Q1 total, and that's how you get your margin change. But for someone that's new, someone that's never done the Copilot demonstration before, that's not going to be something that they know. What they're able to do is simply tell the AI what they want the result to be, and it's going to generate that for them, generate them the output for them. I've got the explanation of the formula. I've then got the columns and what it will look like. So I'm simply able to just press insert. And again, we've now got that percentage margin change, but it's not very apparent to me. It's not very easy to understand where maybe the areas of concern. I can see there's one that's minus 89.68%. We've got a positive 1,148%. But actually, what I want to do is I want to do something that we can already do already. Again, it's not a job that we can't do ourselves. I'm gonna get it to do conditional formatting. So mark any margin change that is under 10% red and over 10% green. Now, I don't know if anyone on this call has ever tried to do conditional formatting, but it can be the biggest pain because you'll ask it to go red and green and everything will go orange for some reason that we don't understand. Again, what we're able to do is we're able to say to the AI, this is the result that I want. So could go off and apply the right formula, the right product to that. So here we've got that margin change. We've got it visualized now. I actually want to be visualized in a different way. I want a bar chart. I want to visualize this as a bar chart. I want to present this into the internal team. Let's say we're coming off the back of that financial presentation, but now I'm going to start presenting the actual numbers for our particular accounts. Rather than asking it, as I've done before, show me data insights, I'm going to be quite specific. Can you create me a bar graph highlighting the top 10 accounts by margin percentage? So not by anything else, not by the Q1, Q2 total, but actually who is our best accounts that's bringing in the most margin, and create me a bar chart off the back of it. Rather than being broad brush, I'm being specific in the result that I want it to be, and I'm going to get that bar graph that I've asked for. So here, what I can do is I can simply just add it to a new sheet, and I've now got a bar graph showing the percentage margin change, top 10 customers, and then I've got the data that's going behind it. So again, we're able to analyze data. We're able to do those VLOOKUPs and XLOOKUPs. With this one, what I'm going to do is I'm simply just going to do it to do an XLOOKUP, which, again, if you're anything like me, can be a little bit of a painstaking task because I'll do an XLOOKUP, I'll think I've got everything right, and then it'll just say null, or it'll say void, or it'll say NA, it'll say something. So I've done something wrong. Again, I don't know what I've done wrong because I've copied and pasted it, or I think that I've done it right. Here, I know that first time, every time, without me having to go to anyone internally, I'm going to get that right formula, and the formula is going to work first time. So here, we've got the explanation. We've got what it will look like. So in column E, we're going to have this, and I can simply just insert column there. Again, we've got that inserted. We've done a VLOOKUP. We've done, yes, it's done a VLOOKUP from memory. Done an XLOOKUP even, I'm going back in time. Done an XLOOKUP, it's put those different bits, those different account managers in for us. I'm now going to get it to do multiple lines at once. So rather than doing that one-time thing, we're going to get it to do 5 at a time. So for some reason, again, it's a work in progress. So I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I tried to do this with 6 a couple of days ago and it only did 5. Tried to do it with 6, and for some reason, there's something wrong with the prompts. They changed something in the back end that meant that it was just doing a total sum of the 6 months period. Now, what I'm simply going to put in here is using the table in the sales data, insert 6 columns So you have to be specific in your prompts, showing the total spend for each month for each account manager. Again, it's going to understand that data that's within that sales tab. It's going to start pulling through those different bits of information, start understanding, and rather than putting a one-to-one thing in, rather than me start right in this formula equals sum, whatever it may be, I'm able to put five different columns in at the click of a button. 5 columns with four different rows in there. Now, currently, the only limitation is 2 million individual cells. If you've got data that's over that, Microsoft say, I haven't tried it because I haven't got any data that's actually that large, but Microsoft say if you get to 2 million lines, if you've got a document that's over 2 million lines or a table that's over 2 million lines, it might start struggling. That's not something that I've seen. That's something that Microsoft has said, but that's the only upper limit. That's the only limitations that are there within the Excel version. Again, other than the fact that it is in preview, but come September we should be out of this and be able to get it to use Python and all those different languages and a bit look at forecasting numbers and things like that. Currently, it's going to look within a workbook, look at the data that it's already got, and then extract that information for us. Now, in terms of demo, Charlie, that is me done.
Okay. One thing I was going to just pick up on there, Louis, was actually Excel. I think Excel's probably a really good example. If there's any people on this call today who are kind of Excel power users, I don't actually believe, if you're a really proficient Excel user, there's not a huge time saving for you to be had using kind of Copilot, but there's a really strong hidden time saving that, talking to most of our clients in terms of this process is, I think most people can relate in the office environment. There's normally an Excel guru somewhere. There's somebody who knows how to do those X lookups, knows how to do those kind of complicated formulas. But if most people are like me, I use Excel a little bit, and I can't remember, in terms of kind of doing conditional format, I'd figure my way through it. So I might have to go and find a little YouTube video, or I'd spend 15, 20 minutes trying to figure it out myself. And then I'll go to the resident Excel guru in the office. So I just think there's some things that there's a little nuance to the efficiency for Copilot of Excel is all that hidden time that you lose of somebody trying to figure out those formulas before they actually then go and speak to that other person internally and then taking their time up. That's where I kind of see the real efficiency gain with this within Excel at the moment. Again, the more complex stuff, you can start asking it natural language, but I just kind of wanted to pick up on that little nuanced efficiency. So, because I think that's actually a really huge time saving in some cases. So,
definitely, and I can attest to that as well. I'm not an Excel guru, but we do have someone that's gone through the intermediate course. I go over to him and he'll go, "Oh no, you've just done this wrong." But again, as you've said, I've taken time out of his day when he needs to be doing other things. I've taken time out of my day because I've tried to Google things and it's still not worked. So 100% attest to that.
Yeah, I say I think for me some of the things kind of day one of using Copilot. If you spend a lot of time on Teams meetings and minutes and writing up notes and actions, I think day one, week one, it kind of really pays for itself when you start doing that. And then all the other intricacies, again, Louis I think you've gone through some great examples today, but it's certainly not an exhaustive list. There's lots of other things that's capable of doing. And then I think that's one thing I'd say to people on the webinar today is that what we can do for you is actually jump on a call with you, really, for those who aren't clients of ours, but equally those that are, of actually understanding your business, understanding what your people do day to day, and then we start to really kind of refine of actually where Copilot will bring that efficiency, and where it demonstrates value to your organization. So we'll spend that time sitting down with people and understanding their job role, and then when we kind of make any recommendations around this, it'll truly add value. Because again, I think you would agree, not everybody, for me, Copilot isn't something that you would buy for every single user in an organization, because I don't think there's huge efficiency gains to be had for everybody. But I think there's certain departments, certain roles, certain people where you kind of really pick that out and absolutely saves a huge amount of time.
Definitely. We've started our second phase rollout at West Coast, and that is currently looking at the sales team, because people that are in Teams meetings all the time, how much time do you spend following up on those Teams meetings? How long do you have to send up follow-up actions? How much time are you spending on, again, when you could be speaking to other customers, you could be being more productive and creative. So we've started a rollout of our to the wider sales team to try and alleviate that. And again, that is where we're finding the most time within Teams, within Outlook as well. Again, we're in email, we're in Exchange a little bit, and it'll be those people that aren't the Excel gurus that are finding those efficiencies there. But yeah, definitely is. I think Teams at the moment is the cornerstone, and everything else is on a process. A process-based thing. So if you're utilizing it, then you can find those efficiencies quite quickly.
I certainly find it myself that I'm going out to meetings now and just literally setting up a meeting with myself on my laptop and letting Copilot record the meeting in the room. So in terms of kind of taking notes and actions, I can remain engaged in the conversation without constantly trying to write things down or type things up. That really just, like almost having that PA in the room who's taking those notes and actions for you.
I think there was
huge time saver.
There was I was watching a video, I think it was a TED talk recently, where they was on about body languages. And when you're speaking to someone, if someone's got their phone in their hand, they're not being engaged with it. You feel undervalued because they've got their phone in their hand. They're not listening to what you're saying. Same if you've got your laptop out and you're writing notes, even though you are taking notes about the conversation or you're in a Teams meeting, someone can see your attention is drawn away somewhere else. Again, they might feel that you're not engaged in that conversation and being a participant in that conversation. As you said, the ability to just Teams meeting, turn on, record and transcribe everything, I said, it's so much better.
So I can see there's a couple of questions coming in. So we've got one from Andy Hill, who's just asked, the tasks you've asked Copilot to perform and the data you've asked it to interrogate, can this be saved and repeated rather than having to go through the same process again, i.e. the same question, same documents month after month?
I would say if you're doing a repeat task, I would say you are looking at, and it's something that can be automated. I would probably look at something like Power Automate. So if you're creating an Excel file that and it's a monthly thing, so you pull data from one source, you put it into a different format, or you insert the data. That's a manual task. Yes, that's something that we can alleviate with AI, but it wouldn't probably be this AI. If you're doing those things that are repeatable and that are automatable, are able to be automated, I think Power Automate is probably going to be a better bet. Again, automating those is definitely going to be better rather than using Copilot to copy and paste. Currently, you've got a prompt book that you can save to that everyone can see. But again, are you then putting in too many steps for the actual process that you want for that end result? Again, that's where then the guys at AAG can then come in and have a look at what is that process, what is the task that actually needs to be completed, and then advise on the correct product, whether it be Copilot, whether it be Automate, or whether it be something else.
Yeah, really kind of common question that come across, and absolutely. Power Automate, which is a different tool, typically within a lot of customers' existing 365 licensing. So it's not necessarily something you've got to go and buy another product or another license for. You might already have that capability now. So yeah, no problem at all. We can certainly have a conversation about that. We've got another question from Caroline. So for the meeting notes and the intelligent recap for a Teams meeting, do I have to be the meeting owner? Does everybody in the meeting need to have Copilot?
No. So what we're working off when we're doing that recap is the transcripts. Now, to be able to access the transcript, you need to be in the organizer's organization. So what that means is, because this meeting was created by AAG, this webinar was created by AAG, and I'm at West Coast Cloud, I wouldn't be able to interrogate it because it's a document within their SharePoint page, within their OneDrive. If you don't know about the transcripts, they're saved within the user's profile in like a little folder that's sort of hidden. So you have to be in the organizer's tenant, but you don't have to be the organizer, and not everyone needs Copilot within that Teams meeting. It just needs to be transcribed, or the ability to have transcribing turned on.
But I'm right in saying that anybody that's got a Copilot license that was an attendee of that meeting can go and ask questions and interrogate that meeting after. If you don't have a Copilot license, you're a part of that meeting, it won't allow you to go and interrogate kind of questions about the meeting
exactly
itself.
that. Yeah. So it's I'm sure that you find that it's Copilot is just a little box that turns up. I think it usually takes about 24, 48 hours. You know, these things with Microsoft, how it takes time to refresh. Once it's on there, it's only on there for you. It's not on there for anyone else that doesn't have that license. It is associated to you and you alone.
I've again, something I find really, really useful, because I'm able to go back to a meeting from a month ago, 2 months ago, and whilst you might have got some notes, you can start asking it questions about the context of the meeting itself, and see the transcript, and ask everything that was even kind of the emotion or anything else that was involved. So really helps kind of bring that back to life if you're trying to recall your last meeting with with somebody internally, or a client or a supplier, etc. So really useful. Andy's just come back with another question as well, saying
sorry, even if it's a meeting you haven't attended, but you were kind of part of, you can even jump in to Copilot then. So if you're late to it, or if you just have missed it entirely, so long as you were involved, like kind of invited to that meeting, you can still jump in and use your Copilot to catch yourself up on that meeting.
And there is a feature coming. It's in the roadmap where you, rather than pressing accept and that you will attend, you actually get Copilot to follow it for you. So it's follow for me. And what that will do is that will automatically turn the transcript on, and afterwards it will send you a summary of the meeting and what was discussed. So if you've double booked, if you're unable to attend for whatever reason, you hit follow for me rather than attend, and it will do all of that work in the background. It will turn it on. It will then send you a summary off the back of it, and then if you really want to, you can come into the transcript, and as Mark said, you're not attended, but the transcript is on, so you can start interrogating that.
And Andy's put, I assume that Copilot will interrogate PDFs. If so, do we need a different PDF/Adobe license to allow Copilot to do that?
No, so as long as you've got a PDF saved, it can read all the PDFs. So that was a recent feature that was released in the past month or so. I've tried it. Like I said, you can ask it questions, you can interrogate a PDF. You would do it in the 365 chat, so it wouldn't be within the PDF itself. You would go into the chat window that we saw earlier, where I was looping in the customer complaints handling template, and just say, summarize this document for me. It's the same actually with Teams meetings. I know I showed the recap feature, but within that 365 chat, like I said, anything that's within your tenant, you can actually ask questions about. So if you've got a Teams meeting, you can just say / this Teams meeting, summarize it for me, highlight the main points, who's the attendees, let's say. So not even having to come into the Teams meeting itself, we're able to do that within that one window, which is a 365 chat.
Brilliant. So really aware we're kind of just coming up to time now. So if there are any other questions, feel free to.
I think we've got one.
Yeah, we've got one more.
If I missed one, sorry.
Yeah, it's just come in.
Around the transcription. So this is something that is coming. So currently, if you're in a boardroom and you've got one device that's recording it, it will just say either you or that boardroom has spoken and said a particular thing. What is in the roadmap, again, and it's documented in the roadmap, I think, again, a lot of these are coming in September. So Microsoft have got a busy period now to get things rolled out. But when we go into that boardroom, when we go into that meeting, providing at the start of the meeting, I say, hi, I'm Louis Graham, I work for West Coast Cloud, my role is Copilot Specialist. Charlie comes in and says, hi, I'm Charlie Griffiths. Mark comes in and says, I'm Mark Swift. It will understand that. And then throughout that conversation, whatever action items that we say that we are taking on board, or whatever we say, it will associate to us. So currently, it would just say meeting room 1 or boardroom or whatever it is. But there are features coming, because Microsoft understand that is a big part of it, not just doing those Teams meetings, but those in-person ones, where it will be able to understand different people speaking from the way that they speak as well.
The one thing I would say is, if you're quite clear in the action in the way that you talk, so we do this now as well. So if I say, actually, Mark, can you take that way as an action in the notes, it will say that action specifically for Mark. So it won't always necessarily just say boardroom 1, as long as you're kind of really clear of naming who's going to do that thing, or you kind of mention their name. So it works, but they say it's going to get much better when the new recognition stuff comes in.
Yeah.
can I just take this kind of final opportunity then, Louis, just to thank you once again for your time. Again, some really useful, insightful kind of demonstrations there of showcasing some of the capability of Copilot. We'll just kind of finish off by by saying that we can set you up a kind of a tailored demo towards your business. So by understanding a little bit more about what you do and how you do it, we can start to showcase some of the bits that Copilot can do that'll be really kind of unique to you and help kind of drive those efficiencies. Don't forget about kind of that kind of Copilot readiness assessment bit. As much as we've got all these kind of nice shiny tools that we can do, maintain the right security controls and technical controls that we have in place to protect your data and information is really, really important. So if you want to kind of reach out to us, more than happy to ping an email over to kind of charlie@aag-it.com, or feel free to give us a call. Or if you jump on the website, there's a section there where you can kind of just book your own time slot and book a meeting with us as well. So any of those options, feel free to give us a shout, and we'll give you a little bit more detail. But thank you very much for your time today. Again, hope it's been useful, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.